Jethro was to be a temporary caretaker for the rod of God. Even so, he was not unqualified or unworthy to safeguard the staff until a rightful heir came to claim it. He was a high priest after the order of Melchizedek, as we learn in a revelation to Joseph Smith. Jethro received the Melchizedek priesthood from Caleb through a chain of authority extending back to the time of Abraham and the hand of God. Jethro's line of priesthood was apparently a branch of patriarchal authority. The Lord specified this separate line in his revelation to Joseph. The Lord was able to preserve the rod within patriarchal priesthood lines through Jethro. It was through Jethro that Moses received the ancestral rod. The rod of God was doubtless used during its long history from Adam to Jethro, but it was during the Exodus that it achieved its fame. It was in the hands of Moses and Aaron that the power of the rod was exhibited to the world. Though the rod did and will have other uses, it was intended by the Lord to be wielded by he who would liberate and redeem Israel from Egyptian bondage. Jewish legend explains this aspect of the story. When Moses saw the stick in Jethro's garden and took it, as the book of Jasher explains, many tried to take the stick, but only Moses was successful, since only he had the right to it. Another rabbinical source provides more detail to the story. The curious relationship of the hand of Zipporah in marriage and the possession of the stick can be explained by the fact that the stick was more than a patriarchal heirloom. It was a form of insignia of birthright and kingship, where royal marriage rights are attached. In the terminology of royalty, the rod was a scepter. As we will explain later, the rod of God became part of the regalia of the Davidic kings. It is not known for certain if Zipporah was the firstborn daughter of Jethro, though most historians believe she was. The fact that Moses was given her hand in marriage along with the possession of the rod of God makes it almost a certainty that Zipporah was the firstborn daughter of the high priest of Midian. In passing, we must note that certain elements of the story are mythic and not to be understood literally. For example, the rod was not made of sapphire, and it was not planted in the garden. This part of the story is a Hebrew variant of the Arthurian legend of the sword in the stone, where the hero alone can pull the scepter of royal authority from the ground. In spite of the mythic element, the core idea of a rod made by the Lord, which he gave to Adam and then preserved to the time of Moses, we believe to be real. It is consistent with the verified history of the rod after the time of Moses.